And welcome to today's live discussion on track and field. I'm delighted to have you all here with me as we dive into some of the exciting performances over this weekend. In this section, we'll be focusing on the just recently concluded London Diamond League, which served, in my estimation, as the last major event before the upcoming World Championships. Additionally, I want to spend some time maybe touching on a few results from the Continental Tour. Particularly, I want to talk about Shelly-Ann Fraser-Pryce continued return from injury and their 100 meters there in Madrid. So we'll spend some time talking about that as well. But most importantly, I want to thank you, especially those of you who have just started to come on the channel. I really appreciate you. And this show is for you, so feel free to also share your thoughts and opinions. Any aspect of track and field that excites you and you want to talk about, I'm here for you. We'll put it on the screen. And as you know, the season's heating up, and we're now at that stage where we're all gearing up for Budapest. So I want to get ready for this exciting discussion with you, and thank you again for joining me. So before I get into London, before we talk about the performances at the Diamond League today, let's start with Shelly-Ann Fraser-Pryce, the great Shelly-Ann Fraser-Pryce. Her second 100 meters of the season just concluded yesterday in Madrid. Two sub 10.9 so far, so she did a 10.8 back to back, and so 10.83 to win the Madrid outing in a slight headwind. Fantastic performance for Fraser-Pryce, I would imagine. And the start, and you can tell me, the start was a bit better than it was when she opened up on Thursday. Still not the start that she would be hoping for, but what we're seeing here is a woman that's trying to find her legs, right? And I think she's getting to that point where she's building some confidence. Not only did she run 1083, she won quite easily, beating the likes of Betsu from and also Shashali Forbes from Jamaica, who came in third. And I think Fraser-Pryce is gearing up for the World Championships. Slight headwind, minus 0.1, minus 0.1, which tells me again, just as what we saw on Thursday, that Fraser-Pryce is probably ready to run 10.7s. With the right conditions, I think she has 10.7 in the legs. How much further down from that, we're not quite sure yet. But I think she would be good. I think one more race, mentally, I mentioned this before, I think mentally one of the things for Shelly-Ann Fraser-Pryce is coming back from injury, and it's anything for any athlete. They come back from injury, they probably know that they're not particularly hurt, because I don't necessarily think she's running with serious problems, but it's just the idea that I do not want to hurt myself in this short period of time before we get to the World Championships, right? And so this is it. How you doing, all in the game? Really appreciate it for coming on the channel. We have a lot to talk about today. Yeah, I agree with you. Not a lot of people would be running, but I think maybe she might do some things in training. I think this might be her last race. I can't remember if they had said something about it. But for me, Fraser-Pryce, I think she'll be fine. It's the kind of athlete that will probably round up in shape during the rounds, right? She has the experience. She's been there since 2008. She's been winning medals individually. And so this won't phase her. As long as she's healthy, I think she'll be doing something fantastic and extremely special. And my hope is that she makes it back on the medal podium. At some point, I'll have to give my definitive 1, 2, 3. Still a little bit early for that, but we'll see what's going on there. All right, so that's it for Fraser-Pryce for me. I think consistency is the word. With better conditions, that probably was a 10.75 to 10.78 to 10.8. Who knows? And so they must be particularly pleased with that. But I want to turn our attention now to the Diamond League. I want to get there and talk about today's performances. So I won't talk about everything that happened, unless you guys want to do that, that happened today in London. But I want to spend some time focusing on some of the standout performances that we had today. And certainly we got some standout performances. There's no question in my mind, and it makes me a little bit excited because the World Championships is coming around. But we want to start with a woman that I think is the future world record holder. I know some of you may not believe me on this, or think I'm going too far, but let's talk about Femke Bol. Femke, what a phenomenal season she's been having. She's delivered an incredible performance today in the 400-meter hurdles. Incredible. You know, she clocked a superb time of 51.45 seconds. That moves her up third on the all-time list. Only the great Sydney McLaughlin has gone faster. And I want to break down the race in a couple of ways because I think there are some things there that will make us feel that she could definitely go much faster than she did today in London. But Femke has been running fast all season. So it's the kind of athlete that when we think about her background training, if I believe she went to South Africa for background training this year, she ran phenomenal times in indoor, the 400 meters in particular. And now she's outdoor and she's basically toying with them. It's ridiculous what she's doing right now. And if you look at how she ran the race, you know, coming around that bend, there's a little bit of a stutter step there. So there's room for improvement. We also have to think about the fact that she's now trying to alternate legs. So she's trying to learn that and be confident in doing so, which all of these things make me believe that one, she'll run much faster this season, but two, maybe at some point they're gearing up for a world record run. Maybe not this year, but possibly next year in Paris. And so throughout the season, she's been transitioning well from indoor into outdoor. And she looked really good today. Really, really good. And I think Femke is a special runner. I mean, we can look at some of the results and look at the performances. Look there. It's like all-time, third all-time, let's say, era record. Significantly fast time. The distance between Genevieve Russell, who I thought had a good race as well, but you run 53.75 and someone runs 51.45, you're not even in the picture, right? If you look at a photo finish, you're nowhere close in the picture. But I think Femke is definitely doing something super, super special this year. Definitely room for improvement. I'm eager to hear from you guys, your thoughts on how fast you think she can go. I think she could go probably maybe 51 flat this year. Maybe. I might be pushing it. I get excited a lot, but it might be pushing it. Let me get a couple of these comments here real quickly. I really appreciate everyone for joining me on the channel this evening. Let me see what All in the Game has to say here. My only regret is that Sid isn't competing in this event. It's that Delia isn't the same age. Yeah, I agree with you. I think I said it earlier, and I don't really know why the transition this early to the 400 meters, but I'm definitely not Bobby Kersey, and I definitely not Sydney McLaughlin, and they can decide what they want to do. But I felt like one more year for me with Sydney McLaughlin here running the 400-meter hurdles would have put potentially the world record in a different space, because you get a youngster like Femke Bol who really recognized that in order to even challenge the likes of a Sydney, she needed to go very close to 51 and obviously going down. And then Sydney decides to run the 400 meters, which I suppose is it's the more prestigious event of the two. But we'll see. I mean, we can talk about Sydney as well. She might be, very, very close to breaking Sonny Richards-Ross United States national record, and probably one of the favorites going into the World Championships with the likes of, I guess, Paulino and who else, Nasser and so on. And so I agree with you here. Maybe she should have stuck around for another year and then in Paris, or try the 400. Or maybe if I was being selfish, I would say continue until Paris. Then you know that there's no way anybody could surpass your record, at least anytime soon, and then take on the 400 meters after that, given that she's still particularly young. But again, I'm not quite sure how long an athlete like Sydney McLaughlin will stay in the sport. Will she stay as long as, say, an Allyson Felix? That's something. Yeah, it was a fantastic race, the dream. It goes. Yeah, I'll get to some of these things later, all in the game when we talk about Dina, because I was extremely impressed by her today. But we talk about that later on as well. But yeah, so that let me know in the comments how fast you think Femke might go this year. At least in Budapest, I think she's outright favorite. I don't think anybody can beat her. The way she's so far ahead, she could probably stumble over a hurdle, get up and win. That's probably pushing it, but she's way out there, I think. All right. If we thought that performance was spectacular, and it might have been the most impressive performance at London today, in London today, I'm not quite sure. You let me know. I want to talk about another event because the women are killing it this year. And let's go to the 5,000 meters. The women's 5,000 meter race, it fed us something special. We had the likes of Sigai in it, Sifan Hassan, Chebet, and we knew we were going to get something special, something special. And when I look at this, I was really impressed. So the women, it was absolutely remarkable. High quality athletes there, very tactical race. I thought this was a super tactical race, if we're thinking about it, because if we go just to the end of it, we get a 14:12:29 meet record, personal best for Sagai. The same, Chebet runs down Hassan. It's 14:12. PB era record as well for Sifan Hassan, world youth record again for Medina. It goes on. Everybody was doing something spectacular over the 5,000 meters. But what I thought was really interesting to 1-1, the time that Sigai run is maybe 7 seconds off of the world record. So that gives me an indication that things might be really special in Budapest as well. However, super tactical race. I think Hassan was trying to get out on Sagai because she knows better kick, superior speed coming down, and that's hard to say because Sifan is also super fast. But she wanted to push it out some more. Probably didn't have it in the legs, or maybe she's also conserving because I'm not quite sure what Sifan is doing this season. She had a fantastic time running the London Marathon. She can run all over the place. And for her, I don't know if she was treating it as a training run either. But it was really good because at around the 4,000 meter mark, we saw Hassan took it out in 11 minutes 28 or something like that. And so clearly we knew at that point in time that something extraordinary was going to happen. And so it did. And so I think this is a wonderful performance. It sets us up for what will happen in Budapest. I'm not quite sure if Faith Kipiegan will run the 5,000 meters. We'll see. But imagine all of those people there, Chebet, Hassan, all of them gunning for the women's 5,000 meters. So I think it's really good. And we have to talk about these things. If you're a hardcore track and field fan, if you're not following these things, then something is wrong with you. All right, let me get to a couple of these comments. I see a lot of comments coming through here, particularly from All in the Game. Let's see what we have here. I think I saw one about. Okay, maybe there's none about the race today, but I'll get to some of these things. Yeah, okay, back to this. If Femke, question is Femke can run sub 50 one with. That's a good question. I mean, I think if both of them. Oh, so you're thinking about this from a mental standpoint then? I'm not quite sure. I don't know if Femke can go sub 50 for one this season. Possibly. It depends. The conditions have to be right. I know she ran a lot this year as well. But you want somebody. I don't know what kind of shape Mohammed will be in, or no one is going to be that close. If you're not in the 51 shape, then she's way out. And I mean, we saw it last year with Sydney as well. She was way out ahead of everybody. So I think if good hurdling technique, right conditions, possibly. But it would have been great to see both of those athletes in the same kind of shape, right? We know a 251 runners would have been fireworks there. It probably would bring the sport somewhere to a different level, the way we saw Varham when sub 46, and Benjamin was running really fast as well, and so was DeSantos. So we'll see. We'll definitely see what's going on here. I want to just go back quickly to the 5,000 meter results here. If we can bring it up on screen again. Yeah, there's a lot of that happening there. Yeah, you're right. All in the game. USA, PB, national record, era record. I mean, it was a fantastic day. It seemed a warm day in London. It seemed like, I don't know how warm it was. I think, well, 23 cm, not bad. Yeah, and you're right. It's good that she beat that record as well. So there's a lot of progress there going on in distance running, especially in the United States. I think what Negus won the what was it, the 1500. Looked pretty decent to me. A lot of guys were on the 330 or somewhere around 330, not under 330. And so there is a lot of promise for what's to come. All right. So again, thank you everybody for joining me, and I appreciate you on the channel. Right. Don't forget to hit the like and subscribe button. I know that we have a few people watching. Get those like numbers up. All right. So that was a wonderful, wonderful performance. So Femke to Segai, and I have to throw Chebet on and also Hassan in it because I thought they were really good, and they separated themselves from the rest of the field. So that augurs well for distance running. It led me to this interesting question as well. Like, where's the ceiling for women's distance running, right? Where's that ceiling? I'm not quite sure because, especially what we saw this year as well with Faith Kipyegon, they keep breaking these barriers and moving the sport forward. And so maybe we have to take a look into that. We often think about the ceiling in sprints, but where's the ceiling for women's distance running? All right, so I want to talk about maybe another super performance today. I don't know what to say about this, and we have a lot to talk about here. I know if you enjoy the sprints, then you're going to want to talk about this. Men's 200 meters. Noah Lyles. I mean, we have the picture up of Noah Lyles because he won, but obviously we should talk about Letsile, Tebogo as well, and maybe a little bit about Zharnel Hughes in another minute or two. But this was an amazing performance. Amazing performance. I'm very excited. Before I get into the performance here, I'm really excited to see what this 200 meters will be come the World Championships. It's going to be Noah starts favorites, but what I saw today from Tebogo, the youngster, the guy in my mind that could potentially also break Usain Bolt's record at some point, and that's Tebogo and not necessarily Lyles, but we can have that conversation. Fantastic performance. So we can think about what that means. If we bring it up, we good conditions for running, so we shouldn't be, we should take that into consideration. A 1.6 meter wind, so we're getting close to the allowable limit. But that's the kind of conditions that you probably want from time to time. 1947. Tebogo steaming down again in 1950, era record, Botswana national record, you name it. But I'm also particularly pleased for Zharnel Hughes, who's having a fantastic season. And we'll get to Zharnel in a second. Also a PB national record. And so in 1 year, we'll get to Zharnel in a second. I often get ahead of myself. But Lyles looks really, really good. Amazing run from Lyles. The questions come back again around the world record. Can he do it? And we'll touch on that. I thought Tebogo was really good as well. I think All in the Game has a really good comment here that I agree with. Amazing first 120 for Zharnel and Tebogo, and almost caught Lyles in the last 50. And I agree. I mean, I think Lyles had to work really hard, probably harder than he wanted to, which means that these youngsters are coming, at least Tebogo. And amazing performance from Noah in the sense that he is now, before we should give him all the credit that where it's due. He's now moved up to passing Usain Bolt in terms of sub 20. I think this is his 35th, if I'm not mistaken, or so. Yeah, he's gone up ahead of Bolt, who has 34 sub 20 races. So that means he's doing something very well. But if he's going to break the world record, and I know all in the game might get on me for this. I don't know if the world record can be broken, at least not this year. He has to do something in the first 100 meters. So we assume and we know based on what we've seen that, and especially if we analyze the 1930 that he performed, 1931 he did in Oregon last year, he really needs to figure out the first 100 meters because you cannot make up all of that work on the straight. He's fantastic on the stretch. I don't know if anybody's better than him on the coming down on the home stretch, but he's not particularly great around. Well, I'm saying he's not particularly great, but he's not great enough to break the world record going around that corner, right? And I don't see anybody breaking that world record at the major championships. And I think All in Game just has a great comment right here. There's no way he's going to do this. So we have to remember, and I always say these things, and for those of you who know the sport of track and field, when Usain Bolt broke the world record again in Berlin, you must remember what happened there. Rounds in the 100 meters, rounds in the 200 meters. In fact, there's more rounds then than now. So nobody will be ever able, I don't think anybody can surpass that because there's not enough rounds for you to even say you run that fast. So if Lyles are going to run the 100 meters, and the 100 meters, as we know this year, is wide open. Maybe I think Zharnel Hughes now might be saying something, but I'll get to Zharnel in a second. It's open. You give Fred Curley a slight advantage. I think if you run well on the day, you could get on the podium. So does Noah want a medal in the 100 meters? And how hard he has to work to get that medal? That's also the question. And when you think about it, if the likes of a Tebogo is coming, will he, Area Knighton as well, will it be in his head? How much work will he need to do to really get a medal on that night in Budapest over 100 meters, and yet have enough in his body to come back and run the 200 meters and run it in a way where he feels confident that he can blow these guys away who are coming? I don't know the answer to this. This is something that we have to think about, you know? And when we look at it, I just don't see anybody running rounds. I've said it before. Maybe on a good night on the Diamond League, maybe Lyles, if he's in the best shape of his life, can come back at the Diamond League final on a fast track in Oregon this year. And maybe he can produce something that could get him the world record. But I don't see it. I would be shocked if there's an individual on this planet that can go the rounds of the 100 meters and the rounds of the 200 meters and decide to break the world record after that. It's just not happening. You know, Bolt is way out there with that stuff, you know? Yeah, Bolt is way out there. And I think you had something here. It's weird to say that Bolt's 1919 is the softer of his two world records, given that it was his favorite event. Yeah, I know. I mean, can you imagine that kind of form he was in Berlin that night, that if he didn't run the 100 meters and he had all of that energy, it would have probably be 18-9. You know, I mean, 18-9 is way out there, but it could have been at least 18 flat, you know, so 19 flat rather. And so, yeah, I am I'm not sure about what will happen here. And I think with these guys coming, Lyles has to protect his 200 meters. He really has to do it. I've said it before. There's nothing anybody can do to surpass nobody can do what Bolt has done. In terms of maybe Tebogo. How old is Tebogo? He still hasn't won anything yet. He's 19 going 20, possibly. He has a lot of time in terms of to catch up on those medals. Probably the same for Arian. But Lyles is up there now. He's not old, but he doesn't have enough time to eclipse what Usain has done in terms of winning all of those Olympic titles and also winning all of those world championship titles. It won't happen. It won't happen. So yeah, Tebogo just turned 20. Thank you, all in the game. And so yeah, those guys are probably the guys that we will see. But that was a fantastic performance, a great run. But I want to isolate Letsile Tebogo a little bit because we saw this young man last year again. You know, he went to the World Championships, then he went back to the World U20 Championships where he had an amazing performance there in Cali, Colombia, beating that Jamaican youngster. I like the kid. The kid has a lot of upside. He seems like he's getting the right team around him, and you know, he's eclipsed all of those world records too that we've seen from the great man. And it gives me a sense of hope that they can move the sport forward as long as you stay healthy, as long as you keep your head on your body and don't do anything out of this way. I think Letsile Tebogo will possibly be one of the guys that we also think about as trying to make an onslaught on the world record. And you know, the world record is important, but I want to see consistency as well, and in everywhere. And I thank you for bringing this up, St. Clair, in terms of he's good at 400 meters, because the reason why I want to highlight him today is because I think that Tebogo is having a purple patch. He's having a wonderful season so far. So what is his personal best over 100 meters? It's 1991, I believe. But this season, he's gone 993. He's just run 1950. And over 400 meters. What's his 400 meters again? I need to look it up. I think it's 44.7, right? It's 44.75, I believe. Yeah. So when you put that together and you look at the young man and you say he's probably still have some more physically to grow, got to build up that body. If he stays, thank you. If he stays healthy, does the right things, yeah, I could see him going places. Ultimately, I think he's a 2-4 man, but that's just me. Still young. And I don't see any reason why he wants to move up anyway. Everybody likes the glamour of staying in the 100 meters, especially as wide open as it is. But I think he can do something, yeah. So yeah, I agree with you all in game. Botswana, they have a really good chance of getting a medal at the World Championships. And I mean, imagine, you know, he'll probably not run in the heats. I don't think they'll. I mean, if they need him, he has to run. But you know, if he's a little bit fresh off of the 200 meters, he can get fresh off that race rather. He can get a little downtime and come back and see what they can do. But I like the kid. I like him from the first time I saw him. I like the way he speaks about the sport. You know, if you see him, he's a level head. I mean, I've spoken to Deji Ogiembe, the journalist there from Nigeria, and he covered Letsile from me, you know, in Africa, and he covered him at the World Under 20 Championships. And you know, from what he tells me, he's a good kid, and they aren't exposing him too much yet. And let's see, because I think Letsile is the future, and I like it. I like what I see here, because you can definitely point to where the times might be coming, right? You know, yeah. No, I agree. They'll rest him, you know, for the semi and bring him in for the final. I think it would be golden. Speaking of that, you know, hopefully Jamaica. I think Jamaica, for the first time, I'm going off topic, has also an opportunity to get back on the medal podium in a 4x1. But if you guys want to talk about that, it's worth talking about. Let's talk about another youngster. Speaking of Jamaica, that has some level of connection to the island of Jamaica. You know, finished his high school days there. Also trains there at a racers track club, I believe, guided by Glenn Mills. And we're talking about Zharnel Hughes. He's having a wonderful season. Zharnel, to me, has matured. Maybe matured is the word. You know, I remember I was having a conversation over the comment section with all in the game, and he pointed out, you know, he really has a soft spot for Zharnel, and maybe he can overcome these false starts. Because was it last year or the year before? He was just false starting a lot. And I remember that at one point I saw a comment from Michael Johnson that was really peeved. He was not impressed. And at some point he was thinking that this guy shouldn't necessarily be in the sport because he was, and maybe that's harsh. That was harsh, but he wasn't living up to his potential. And this season, Zharnel has broken Linford Christie's record of in the 100 meters. It's gone 1983. And today in this race in London, in his home, well, the country he runs for. I wouldn't say it's his hometown because we know he's not from there. He goes and runs a 19.73. What is that telling us? And thank you everybody for joining me. Don't forget to hit the like and subscribe button. What is the 1973 telling us? What is it saying? I really think that Zharnel might be, with the right conditions, getting to maybe a 9.7. After today, I'm kind of wondering, and call me out if you think I'm overthinking this or getting too excited. But I think Zharnel might start favorites for me. Slightly over Fred, only because when I saw Fred running that 200 meters at the US National Trials, it gave me an indication that maybe something isn't right. Maybe he's carrying something and he's not saying it. And I wonder if Zharnel is the favorite for 100 meters now. I just wonder. The 1973, I know it's not 19.6 or whatever, but 1973 is pretty good. And then you look at the 9.83 and you say to yourself, they'll probably lock it down now and he come back and he'll be flying if he listens to the coach. It's all up to him. It's all up to him. And I have to say, I wouldn't mind if he wins it. I don't necessarily like the colors he's representing, and sorry for you Great Britain fans out there, but if he wins, I would feel good about it, knowing that he came through the system and what that means. Let me get a couple comments, and thank you again for joining me. Don't forget to say what you want to say. If you think I'm talking nonsense, don't forget to also say that. Yeah, all in the game. He false started twice in every season since 2021, but he competed in 4 championships last year, and he didn't false start once, medaling in 3 of those. Yeah, high 9.6, low 19.6 is possible. For me, the 200 meters is bonus for Zharnel Hughes. He should go to the World Championship with a mindset on making sure that he gets on that podium. At this stage, he should be on the podium. If he doesn't get on the podium, it will be disappointing for me. Unless some guys come up and rack up some 9.6, which isn't happening. Or they run 9.7s or very low 9.7s. Then we can hold our hands up and say, well, you give it a good shot. But it's definitely possible. Good conditions. That track is going to be super fast as well. I'm not quite sure about the conditions, and we'll see what's going on, right? But I definitely think he's in the mix. And if Hughes can go there, get a medal, probably should win it. He should try and win it. Then I really think then he goes into the 200 meters with no stress. He goes into and that's a good thing. That's a good thing for me. Then they can gear up and come back for a relay. The British guys should be good in the relays as well. Where you got the likes of a Reese Prescott. They could. They usually have decent baton exchanges from time to time. He should walk away from the World Championships with 2 medals minimum, I would say. But that's me. Thank you again for joining me. Thank you so much for joining me. Peace and blessings to you as well, and to everybody on the channel. And yeah, Anguilla will be cheering for him. I agree with you. I think they will be. I mean, there's no doubt about it. And I appreciate. We understand why he runs for Great Britain, right? And there's nothing there. I don't feel bad about it anyway. And I think he's a good lad, and hopefully he's successful there. All right. As I move to the next section, I just ask you to give me one favor and smash that like and subscribe button. Thank you so much again for joining me. We're talking track and field today. I hope you're enjoying all the track and field that's out there. All right, so I want to go to another. Well, it was a good performance today in London, but one that made me think that now I can write off who will win the 400 meters come Budapest. But before we get to that, let's talk about the men's 400 meters in London. Wade van Niekerk continues to impress this season. You know, with his return to form, you know, he secured a victory today, holding off the likes of Deadman and Norwood. I think he displayed great determination because he came out well. He ran I think he ran a really good 200 meters. He took that early lead, but he had to work hard to maintain it in the home stretch. You know, and I don't know if it was a heavy training week for him. There was some level of expectation that Wade might dip under 44 seconds in London today. Not only didn't do that, he was quite far away from that, if we can put up the results. So as you see, he wins it in a 44.36. Deadman second, 44.4. And Norman, 44.46. And a season best for Hudson Smith, which the Brits must be happy about. That's far off. And we know the conditions out there are good from, say, far off from a sub 44. But I like the determination to hold off those guys because those guys were coming. And I'm very happy for Wade, I must say this, because we know he suffered so many injuries. Well, he had that one injury that lasted for such a long time. And now he's back. And he may never get back to a world record shape. That's hard for me to think. We'll have to see it. But I would love to see him dip under 44 seconds. I think it's possible. But I don't think he'll dip low enough to hold off the likes of a Stephen Gardner. I think for me this season, possibly a 43.9, maybe 43.8 might be the best. And I know I just got this comment here from Oval Supreme talking about Wade van Niekerk will surprise everyone. And by surprise, what you mean? Because I think we're expecting him to be on the medal podium this year. That's how I'm thinking about it. We have to expect, because he's been running very well this season. No doubt about it. And up until the point of Stephen Gardner's return, I thought Wade, is definitely in the mix. And as All in the Game just said, it's Gardner's to lose, in his opinion. I certainly agree with that. I think Gardner is going to run a 43.4 or better. I don't think Wade will do that. We'll see. I would love it, though. I would definitely love it. I would love a Wade to come into the championship with a capability of running very low 43s, both of them. Because if they could do this, then what we will see is fireworks. And I'm only disappointed that the likes of a Norman isn't around this year. And I know I was harsh on Norman in different ways. I do recognize, and thanks again for pointing that out again to me, All in the Game. Norman changing coaches, and that kind of transition sometimes is hard to make in the initial season. I just hope that he sticks with the 400 meters, because I don't get the 100 meters, and I don't get it. Maybe I'm wrong. I know everybody wants to run 100 meters. Everybody looks at Usain Bolt or others, or maybe the money is in 100 meters. Well, as we know, money in track and field is not as good as it should be. And that's for another discussion. But yeah, so you're saying surprise win Okay, if Wade van Niekerk wins the 400 meters in Budapest, I would be happy because that would mean that it would be triumph. It would be one of his greatest achievements to come back from what he did in Brazil, which would be how many years? Quite a number of years to then reclaim his title and the number one position. That would be fantastic. I just don't think it can happen under a Stephen Gardner's watch. That guy's too good. He's too fast to be for you to beat him. His stride length is beautiful to watch. And he's a guy that can run 19.7. I know he's also coming back from injury, but he looks to be in very good shape. So fireworks come a few weeks' time in Budapest. So I think Supreme says he has Wade for the win. We should put it on record. We can come back to it. I have Gardner for the win. I think All in the Game does. And let me know who you have for the win out there. If you're watching on this live, type in who you think will win the men's 400 meters and probably what time. We can come back and revisit this. All right. I appreciate everybody for joining me again. As you know, I'm here for you guys. I want to hear your thoughts, your comments. Put it up on the screen. This is your live show, and I know a lot of people are watching, and so give me a like. It's not that I'm begging for the like. It's just that we want to build this community, and I appreciate a lot of people coming into the channel, watching all the videos. But what that really does is also to let others know that this is a place for them. So it's not only for me. It's not for my ego. All right. Thank you. So I want to switch gears again and move into another, good. Before we get to that, I think this is important. Yeah, that is tough. That is tough, and James is also Kirani. James is also one of those athletes that we have to be proud of, and especially all the things that he went through in those last few years, particularly with what I believe Graves' disease and so or the impact of that, and so now for this to happen to him, yeah, I don't know what that means for Kirani, and I wish him the very best. I think he may have another couple of seasons before he might call it. He's truly one of the greats of the sport, and certainly pride of the Caribbean as well when it comes to the 400 meters. And I'm sure everybody in Grenada, national hero as well for them. And certainly, let's hope that he can come around, because when you get all of these guys together, when you get a thing stack full of guys running with the capability of running sub 44 seconds, it's exciting to see. I like it. I would love to see a race where you get 6-7 guys running 44 seconds or better. I know I'm asking for a lot there, but that is something. And speaking of that, what about Rasheen McDonald? Your thoughts on Rasheen McDonald? I know I don't have him on the slide, but since we're talking about potential medal candidates for Budapest, McDonald, as far as I know, the last time I checked had the second fastest time of the year. When I saw him run that, I said to myself, well, maybe that 43 was legit, because that 43 struck me as odd that year was it in Beijing in the opening round of the 400 meters. I was like, why? I often thought that clock was malfunctioning at that time, but that's just me. But it's good to see McDonald back running that fast, and hopefully he can get into the team, right? I forgot about that. Yeah, Jamaica may have a decision to make. He finished outside of the. Did he finish outside, or he had a medical? Well, he can't have a medical exemption because he wasn't like world number one or anything. But we'll see. Let's see what he can do. But at the very least, he may be able to run a good leg on a 400 meter on the 1600 meter relay for Jamaica. All right, let's transition into the 110 meter hurdles. I want to talk about the 110 meter hurdles today. Mr. Grant Holloway, as usual, he runs most weeks he runs well. He's probably one of the most consistent hurdlers we've ever had, except for on a few occasions he gets pipped, and there's a few people who could put pressure on him. I often say that Grant Holloway is the best hurdler I've ever seen to 8 hurdles. After 8 hurdles, he, if you're in the mix, you could put some serious pressure on him. But he was comfortable today at 13:01. I really like that kid Izumiya from Japan in 13:06, and I'm not quite sure what happened to Hansa Parchment today. But nevertheless, Grant looked really good. Again, he looks a little bit shaky for me from hurdle 8 onwards. And I think if you're in the mix, if you're Rashid Broadwell, if you're the other guys, if you're there beside him, I don't think the hurdles I don't think he wins, right? Holloway is the type of guy that doesn't like pressure. That's why he wins everything by himself most of the time. Parchment finishing in 4 in 13:26, which all of those times aren't terrible, but you got to be running sub 13 and probably close to sub 12.9 or or so to be in the mix for the medals. I think this is one of the events to look forward to at the World Championships. It probably won't be as exciting as the women's 100-meter hurdles, but we'll see what happens there. But rightly so, as you say, all in the game. Broadwell, that Cordell Tinch guy is going to be a problem for real. I like that kid. That kid many say came out of nowhere, largely because he was running for a school that's not one in a Power 5 conference and so on. Not even in Division 1, right? So, yeah. Thanks for joining, Ryan, and thanks for clarifying that. I remember, I remember this. I think he was in the first round of the 400 meters, if my memory serves me, and then he didn't finish, right? So we'll see. And I think All in the Game had something else to go back. It's too inconsistent. Jamaica has a problem in developing its quarter milers. Where do we start here? Where do we start? I'm here for it. Jamaica has a problem, probably. I wonder if the athletes have a problem. Because we see good potential for quarter milers when we watch the school championships. When we watch the high school championships, every year you look at a guy or two, if we just isolate the men for a minute, because I think the women have always been much better. Every year or two, you find somebody that you can say, if harnessed right, could be a low 44. And then once in a while, you might get talent that should go below 44. Yeah. The likes of a Bloomfield for me is problematic, because that's a guy, I think, when I looked at Bloomfield when he was a kid at, where did he go, KC? You saw Arthur Wint in him, if you want to keep on the legacy of a Jamaican track and field. Tall guy, 6'4", 6'5", lovely stride pattern. I do admit he went through something traumatic. His mom passed. And so that's difficult for anybody to deal with. Obviously, switching coaches, health issues, staying healthy. But he's probably one of the most talented guys to come out of Jamaica. And so I wonder to not lose the talent, right? It needs to be developed, right? He's 6'7". I didn't know he's that tall, Ryan. But he needs to find himself, because I really think that at this stage he should have been consistently running 44, 43, 4s and better. I thought he had that talent, and we know he has speed as well. He can run a good 200 meters. But back to your point, All in the Game, you're certainly right. I mean, we're talking about Nathan Landell. I don't know what happened to him. This year, I mean, I was pleased to see a couple guys running really good, but it's inconsistent, as you say. And the 400 meters is grueling. You have to put the work in, a lot of work. It's probably the real reason why Usain Bolt didn't do it. Not that he doesn't like work, because clearly you can't be that good and not be dedicated to the craft and put in the work. But it's grueling. You're going to do a lot of vomiting. You got to have to stand on your head a lot just to recover. But they should do it. And I think a lot of guys are they are drawn to the glamour, the blue ribbon event in track and field, the 100 meters, and not realizing that they could be really successful in the sport, especially if you come from Jamaica and you still live there. I imagine that if you can work on a circuit, you could get, a decent living wage. It's not the greatest, but something that would be better than, I don't want to get in trouble, but better than some of their current potential until they can figure that out. And so I would hope that we can solve this, because this has been, when you think about the legacy of 400 meters in Jamaica, that's where it started from. You go back to Helsinki, you go back to, was it London? You think about Wint, McKinley, Rhodes, Lang, and you name it. Then you go all the way up to Bert Cameron and so on. It's a rich history of 400-meter runners that we should have been doing much better. They should have gone further than they are. And I think some of that is personal responsibility and not wanting to do the kind of work that's needed to be successful. You can make a good living out of 400 meters. Ask Michael Johnson. All right. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you for saying that. I think I'm missing out a lot of your comments here. Yeah, look at that. As you say, you run 19.8 and 43.9 as a 20-year-old. So no, you don't do this if there isn't a tremendous amount of potential. So you have to stick to it. You have to stick to it. And what's saying, Claire, the 400 is technically a sprint. Jamaica needs to implement the long sprint trade. Possibly. I also think Jamaica, when I look at where our track and field has gone over time, and despite the success that we've had, I think on a whole we've robbed ourselves from a number of potential medals. I think they should be good in all the jumps, maybe pole vault. That's that different. That's hard to develop, but they should be good in high jump. They should be good in long and triple jump. We should have numbers galore, and that's coming. Hibbert, all those kids that are at Arkansas. I'm loving it, right? But on men and women's side, and we know we have a history in triple jump and for women as well, and I like it. But we should be putting those things out. Anything that's super explosive in track and field, they should not have a problem. And I like to see the improvement in the field events. Was it yesterday that kid broke the shot put record, going over 22 meters. I like it. So there are areas that we have neglected, I think, that are coming up. Additionally, I have to say that I think up to 800 meters, they should be able to find world-class talent, men and women. It shouldn't take a lot of a Gould or maybe a Kenya Sinclair to Gould and nobody for a very long time. That is unacceptable. That's just me. That's my rant there. I appreciate everybody for joining me. I think we have a bunch of other things there. I don't even know where I am in terms of my rant and the comments. I try to make sure we get on everybody here. I think Ryan is saying that I think the problem with Jamaica's quarter mile is their focus, nutrition, and training. Quite possible. Something has to done. Yeah. Yeah. And then where we Femke wasn't happy with some of her hurdle jumps. I think she lose velocity over the barriers compared. Who has an incur compared to who? I think she loses. Oh, good to see you, Herman. Thanks for joining. I agree. I think I didn't see the post race. You mean compared to Sydney? Yeah. Okay, it was just me. I figured that was what you're saying. I agree 100% with your assessment there. I didn't see her post race interview today in London. If she was talking about the race today. After that, I just went and I think I was watching some other sport at the time, some cricket. But yeah, I think what's your thoughts on where she can go? I really think that 51 flat is possibly in the cards this year. Maybe an assault on the world record next year once she figures out that changing of the leg technique and so on. Yeah. But I think I love fantastic, fantastic from Femke as well. Uh, right, yeah, Campbell, he was fantastic yesterday, and I watched some of that Madrid Diamond League. I didn't see everything, not Diamond League, Continental Tour, but I love to see it. I think Jamaica's getting improvement as well in discus. So there are things that we've left on the table for many years because everybody wants to be the next Usain Bolt or Veronica Campbell Brown, Shelly-Ann Fraser-Pryce, Elaine, you name it. And there's more to the sport than that. And there's a lot of technical development that needs to happen and resources. But also a lot of these athletes don't even live in Jamaica, right? They are here in the States and they're all over. So, once you find what you can do, maybe that's what you need to focus on. And I think we don't do a good job of developing some of these people as well. All right. I guess before I want to transition away, before I get into the women's 100 meters, because I think that's something to talk about. Don't forget to give me a like and subscribe. Hit that notification bell, because every time we go live, you'll know. And I really appreciate you for joining me this evening. Let's talk about the women's 100 meters. It's a very interesting race today. Very interesting race. First of all credit must go to Marie-Josée Tallou, having a fantastic season. It's a brilliant woman. I think in her post-race interview, she was a bit shocked about the performance. She didn't think she would run that fast because I guess she wasn't feeling that great. But as we've always said, Marie-Josée Tallou is always a woman that comes to the championships ready. And I think she would be ready. She's up there for one of the medals. Lovely time today and we could put up the results. Lovely time of 10.75, 1.2 win, so in their favor. Not particularly close to the legal limit, but in her favor. Season best for her. Beating out the likes of Dina Asher-Smith, which I was very impressed by, 10.85. Because when I saw Dina the other day in the 200 meters, I was still thinking that she's somewhere off her best. But I think Dina will come into the championships feeling confident, getting to a 10.85. Whether or not she's capable this year of challenging for a medal, I'm not quite sure. I think if you're going to challenge for a medal, certainly to win, I think you need to be in a 10.6 range. It could be better. So, but I think you're in the mix. I know put back Dina in the mix. Not quite sure what's happening to Daryl Nita. But the woman I want to talk about as well is Shericka Jackson. Because I don't know about you, but I think Shericka was cruising today. I don't think she wanted to run that race. Or maybe she was running on the special MVP instruction. You tell me. And when I see it today, it also reminded me of what she did in Monaco a couple of days ago. Because her eyes was bulging in Monaco at the end, and she was basically running within herself in Monaco when she ran at 21.8. I think, as you know, if you watch the MVP thing, they usually come off and load up again in time and prepare for the championships, and they come in there super fresh. I think she went through the motions on, when was it, Friday? And now today she certainly went through the motions. It's just like almost like I'm here to collect a check. Well, I shouldn't have said that. I don't think she was running hard. I don't know what she was doing, but it's clearly that she's just running easy. And I don't understand the strategy in the sense that why are you allowing people to take scalps at you? Or is it because you had a really heavy training week and you don't want to push it? Or you're still tired from the 200-meter exploits? But it was really interesting to see her just run through the motions there. And funny enough, I mean, just doing nothing and still running, what was it, 10.94? Yeah. And I think, who is it? Ryan is saying Shericka is going to take the double at the World Championships this year. I'm not disagreeing with that. Right now, I still have Shericka on top of the podium for me in both events. This year, Talu is new coaching. Is it a new coach this year? If I'm not mistaken. Yeah, rounds might be an issue. She's been often unlucky in years, just missing out on medals. It's really tough, especially at the elite level. But I still think the medals for the 100 meters will be decided by Shericka Jackson, Shelly-Ann Fraser-Pryce. It's hard not to put Sha'Carri Richardson in it as well. Definitely. Talu will have her say. Likewise, Julian Alfred for me. I think Alfred will come to the championships ready and rearing to go. Nothing to prove, even though she's run extremely well in college. There's nothing to prove yet. No, the expectation on a Julian Alfred is probably not as high in terms of outside expectation. Obviously, she has her own. No one goes out there not wanting to win. But yeah, let's get some of these comments, and thank you everybody for joining me. Let's see what's going to go happen here. You're like, when they unleash her, it's going to be scary. And you mean, I take it you mean Shericka Jackson? Probably so. Let's see where you are. All in the game is saying, would prefer an athlete be there who will give 100% than having a big name who won't, especially after 4 meets. Yeah. I agree with you on there because I think she run through the motions, and unless I haven't seen any post race comments, so if anybody saw any interviews with Shericka Jackson since that 100 meters today, please share. Let me know, or I can ask my producer to look to see if she said anything. But yeah, it just looked like she was just going through the motions. It was a training run for me, and I really I don't know. But come Budapest, she'll be rearing to go barring any injuries. Let's get back to some of your comments here. Shericka is in the form of her life. She's running with the strategies and instructions from the coach. Yeah, that's the case. You know how it goes already. I think it's one of those kind of programs where you have to be prepared to lose after you've won, and then recognizing that coming to the championships you'll be ready. Yeah, it's right. It's full year now with John Smith, right? Exactly. And thanks for the reminder. What else? Only once in the last 23 years has it taken quicker than 10.8 to win a bronze medal in the right. And that was But so you're saying like it's likely that a 10.8 will get you on a medal podium. It could. I don't disagree with that all in the game. I think, however, I'm thinking that Shelly will come to the championships at 10.6. If everything goes well, she will use the rounds to get up to that shape. My guess is that even Sha'Carri will be able to dip on the 10.7 as well. She will come to the championships in a shape like that. Whether any of these athletes deliver that, we all know it's a different thing. But she'll come to the championships there. And I definitely think Jackson will come into the championships with the ability to dip under 10.6. She might come to the championships in the kind of form Elaine was in 21. Whether she can execute to do that is a different story. If she gets the first part right, then the rest should take care of itself. And Talu, we know, coming in at 10.7. I don't know how much lower than that she'll get to the championships with, but we know who's preparing her as well. So we have to give a lot of respect to John Smith, who has prepared a number of athletes over many years. So he's no stranger to gold medals and preparing athletes well. So it might take more than that to be on the podium, which is also scary but very exciting at the same time. What is Kim on Blackwood saying? Somebody getting left off. 4 contenders, 3 medals. Yeah. Who? Give me your top 3, right? Yeah, give me your top 3. Yeah. 10.9 is too easy for her at this point. Yeah, that's strolling for sure. 1-2 is definitely going to be Shelly and Shericka in no particular order, but the bronze is up to Talu, Shakari, and Julian. Yeah, I can buy that. I can go with that. So far, that's where I am. I have to stick my neck out at some point, relatively soon. I don't know yet. I'm sleeping on that one some more. Yeah. Oval Supreme says Shakari will win the 100 meters. It can happen. Definitely can happen. Talent was never an issue, we know, and I'm. It's good to see her in consistently running well this season, and we'll see what will happen. You know, a lot of people won't be happy, but a lot of people will be happy too. Millions of people will be happy. I was talking to a journalist this weekend, a couple of days ago. I won't put this in the street because I don't think he wants to say this out loud yet. But he was saying that in a way he wants Shakari to win the 100 meters. Not that he has anybody in the game, but he wants her to win only because she transcends the sport. Everybody knows her, and it would be good for track and field. I get his point, but but I don't know if he's willing to say that out in public as yet. But that's where we are. She does transcend the sport, and I know a lot of people aren't happy in terms of her, of the kind of recognition she gets, especially she hasn't racked up the kind of silverware yet to be deserving of that. That's how some people would look at it, and I also understand that for sure. But she's still young, so now is her time to start getting medals at major championships. And let's see if she can do it, because it's one thing to come to a major championship and deliver. It's not easy, right? And so we'll see. Yeah. Yeah, she does look good, well in the 200 meters as well. I mean, the Americans are strong in that as well. I think the women's sprints overall are in a healthy place, and it's going to be exciting, very exciting. And you imagine there's no Elaine Thompson-Herah around, and it's still super exciting. So that means the sport is in a healthy place. There's no Abby Steiner. So we can't complain. I really don't think we can complain. And then everybody will be gearing up come next year for Paris. Orwell is saying, Ryan is saying that's not going to happen with the Jamaicans. Okay, I get it. And yeah, and I suppose you're responding by saying 21-6 in the heats is no joke. Yeah. Yes, Blackwood. Yeah, John Smith was Jetta's coach. He also coached Atta Bolin and Maurice Green, John Drummond, all those guys in the 90s. I don't know how old you are, or if you remember all of that stuff. But yeah, John Smith is a HSI. I think that's what they used to call themselves. They might still be called that. Out of Southern California. Is Southern California? Yeah. He's one of the finest sprinters. He was an athlete himself back in the day. Was it a hurdler? Was he a hurdler? I think, I can't remember. I have to check on that. I can't remember. But John Smith knows his track and field. He's one of those coaches that can mold people to great success. He's coached a number of Olympic athletes and world champion, both Olympic and world champion. Yeah, you go to a John Smith, your career is always in good hands. That's why I was saying recently, when I think about the state of Elaine Thompson-Herah, and if she wanted a fresh start, there's only a few places that I think she can go. And the reason why I keep saying that is because an athlete of her level and ability cannot be coached by people who aren't of that same level. I said it. And so she could go to a John Smith, she could go to a Bobby Kersey. She could go to Raina Ryder, but we all know what happens there. And so you look at a handful of people who can really mold some of these really top class personalities and athletes and make sure that they continue to be successful. There's some other people I could mention as well, but that's not for me to say. But a fresh start, hanging out in LA wouldn't be a bad thing. Come back for Paris and beyond. End your career on a high note. Let's see what else there. I appreciate everybody with all the comments there. We see Jackson gonna come to the championships in 10-5. Yeah, I think so. I agree with you, and so on. What has got me here? Yeah, we'll see. I think she has to learn how to manage this all in the game, and I think you only can manage this or learn this once you're there. The key is not to go out there and try to run super fast in the first couple of rounds, right? But then she's also young, so I guess she can do what she wants to do. So we'll see. We'll definitely see. But if you're gonna come up against the likes of a fresh Shericka Jackson with a lot more experience at the international level, and the most experienced and decorated woman ever, Shelly-Ann Fraser-Pryce, the greatest 100-meter runner ever, from my liking, man or woman, then those people can do rounds in their sleep. And so you have to be prepared mentally, make sure you're giving the right output, and so on. Dean the Dream, thank you so much. Super chat, first super chat of the night. I appreciate you for supporting the channel. Thank you so much. And thank you again for the super chat. Yeah, I guess you guys are having your own conversation in the live. Not you're responding to all in the game. Not in disagreement, but this is a mental thing. Yeah, thanks so much. Yeah, I can't keep up with some of these comments, but I'll try to. I'll get them on. I always promise to get the comments on. Kimon says he has. They have I have questions about Sha'Carri's ability to perform her best in the final. The two finals she entered, she ran 10.8 despite running faster in the rounds. Yeah, she has to deliver on that. I agree with you. I don't think anybody disagrees with that. And once you get to a major championships, it's about managing the rounds. And if you can manage the rounds, then we'll see what happens, right? You know, if she doesn't manage the rounds, then she will not win, or she'll fall off the medal table. You know, I don't know if she can win anyway, but you know, she'll get off the medal table. Where am I with the comments? You guys keep them coming. Every woman's track event is exciting from 100 to 10K. Can't wait for Atin Keeley, Miriam Moore in the 800 meters. 800 meters. What do you think? 155? Because Hutchinson, Mora would be on fire. I think you could come last in the women's 800 meters and run 157 low. It's stacked. Today in Jenna is back. Riki is back as well. Gemma Riki back today. What was it? 157. Holding off Gould. I mean, look at this. Bunch of women running 157 here. 157.61 season best for Gould. A lot of national records here, era records here. 800 meters ridiculous. Hutchinson, Mora, and I think move for the medals for me. But you could run 156 and not even see the podium. It's up there. Really up there. Yeah. Thanks for joining, Debbie. Really appreciate you for coming back on the channel. What could you explain a little bit more about the injury scare here for Sha'Carri? Is this after the race this week? The one where Alfred beat her? Because she didn't she pull out today from, was she in the starting lineup or the pre-race for lineup for today? I could have almost I was certain I saw her name a couple of days ago and I was looking over the thing and I was surprised not to see her. So she has an injury scare. Oh yeah. Well, no, that could change things. I hope it's not too serious because you want everybody there. Hope it's not too serious. But yeah. We'll see. Well, guys, as usual, yeah, she did pull out. Thank you, because I know I saw it. I was like, when I was going through the PDFs yesterday, I think I saw her name, and I'm like, why she's not in the race? And I was watching a number of sporting events this morning, so I didn't really even. I wasn't even watching. I wasn't even listening to commentary. I was just watching the events today. So yeah, I was watching cricket too as well. So I wasn't really listening. I just saw the lineup and I was just watching. And I was like, whoa, where's Shakari? But I don't know what kind of injury it is, and hopefully I don't know. Do you know? Did they mention what injury it was? Hopefully it's nothing that will keep her out of the championships. But she's been running really fast all season too, and sometimes that's the kind of thing. It's a okay, slight hamstring. Okay, well, yeah. Hopefully it depends on what that is. That could be 2 weeks, 3 weeks. It could be more. And if it's a hamstring that impacts the kind of training you can do leading up to the championships, that's not good. That's not good at all. 800, they're flirting with 153, 154. We'll see. Can the world record go? Nah, crazy. Can't go. If it does, then that would be amazing. But I don't want to get into that world record right now. Yeah. Yeah, both of them are at 155, 156. So yeah, I think it's a 154 or better, maybe 153. I don't know. We'll see. It's gonna be amazing performance. I think all in the game is right here. Yeah. I want to thank everybody for joining me. We've been on the live for an hour. I know we could talk a lot more. Don't forget, if you have anything else, I'm probably gonna wrap up in a second here. One of my cameras is always trying to overheat on me, and I don't know why. But it's probably an indication that I'm on here too long. But again, this has been good. I know we had a steady amount of people here, and hopefully you enjoyed the live. Don't forget the live. If it's your first time, we have a live from the last time. If you don't have the live from yesterday, you can check it out. I have a bunch of other things on the channel, and I am looking forward to engaging with you. I'm not going to go yet because I know all in the game just hit me with something here. Don't forget that I think increase our strength by reducing our 1500-meter PB to 4.16 to 4 from 4.1 to 4.03 in just 2 races. No, for sure. That when I saw that, I was thinking about what Bobby is doing. Look, do you think the world record could go? I mean, we should pull that up again. I hate doing this because of where we are and certain records that are on the books, and I don't want to get into this whole kind of long line of what records shouldn't be there. So we're looking at 153.28. I don't know. I really don't know. 153.28 is the world record. Then we have like 153.43. Whereas I think doesn't come in until about 155.04. There's Casta. Casta was at 155.25, and I'm saying 153 is possible. I don't know if the world record is possible. That's out there. You let me know if you think that's a possibility. Yeah. But guys, it's been brilliant having you again. We have a lot of things on the channel, and if you've missed this, if you're just joining, make sure you tell me where you are from on the rebroadcast. Don't forget to put your comments there. I'll definitely respond to them, and my producer will work night and day to kind of splice up some of these lives for you, because oftentimes if you're not able to listen to everything, we try to take out some of the gems of it and repurpose it so people can come be there. Thank you again for joining me. I'll be back soon again with another live. Hit that smash that like button, subscribe, hit the notification bell, because you'll know when I come live. You'll know when we drop new content, and I leave you with All in the Game saying 154 is possible. I appreciate every one of you, and you have a good rest of your day, and stay safe, and thanks so much. Bye-bye.